Hello, just want to say, there are many visuals constructed by words, and many words that I made up, so it would help to read this instead of just hearing the audio. The story is on Wattpad, Royal Road, and Scribble Hub. Feel free to go check it out and enjoy. Nitrogen leaked. Metal tubes, crackly aeolian surfaces, and radioactive silver lights. The giant screen's wire was connected to a woman's belly button. A Cylindron typed in codes. The triangles were processed on the screen as the woman's abdomen grew bigger. Her boat head was gelled with white silicone. Rusty brown steel rods irregularly pricked out her head. Her eyes bled tar. Her bare chest was manually expanded and deflated by a hanging silicone head with thin prosthesis penetrating her lungs. With a tilt of her head, the Cylindron promptly removed the wire from the screen and raised it above its head. A child fell out of the woman's birth canal and dropped to the floor with metal wires, cartasia, and tar. Immediately, the Cylindron connected the wire to the child's hollow right eye, dripping liquid nanite onto the woman's head. The nanite turned into tiny needles that seeped into the woman's head. The hanging head reviled as the woman flinched and quivered, but before it could react, the Cylindron drew a cross in the air with a menace pen in its sight of the hanging head. Like that, the hanging head froze. In this world, 2 additional metal rods were created, crisscrossing in the hanging head. Instantly, the sign appeared on the wall, covering the ceiling to the floor. Father, the Cylindron said, and somehow, the child could understand the human language. As the signs enlarged, antonyms engulfed and tar grew from the metal ceiling, walls, and floors, reaching out to the Cylindron. That second, the child's face glitched, blurring into squares as liquefied guns were pointed at the Cylindron, transforming it into melted silver. Is this the snow, Father? The white dots in the void went snowflakes. There were codes, programs, but how did the child know what snow was? It glitched across the codes and the sign, across the boundless void. What was this world? The living planet absorbed the technologies after humans, unaware of its presence, resided on it. The humans were parasites, and the world was sick of them. The child, it woke up in a dead antenna Y. A hammer was in its skull with the sign on the hammer's tip. An XC7 camera lens was its left eye. Its right, gaseous face was glitching with white and no eyes. It has no lips. Its tar-covered teeth were fully exposed. Its body was a black diamond skeleton, harder than the aeolian metal, which could transform into liquid and gas. It had a spherical abdomen with human hunting tools. It looked right. There was a cliff of a 23,000-story building that was split in half. It looked up. A deserted human city was upside down as the ceiling. The building was 19,374,008,394 centimeters wide, so it decided to go to the left, where thousands of hallways waited to be explored. Black and white and silver and black and white. 2,908,641,883 seconds have passed. It found a long dent, recognizing that it was in the world's finger, and the dent was one of the finger's creases. A staircase led to the bottom. Surrounding it was a void with no ceiling. After a year, it walked to the bottom, discovering a black dome. Green, red, blue, white monitors stick in and out, covering the interior of the dome. There were 249,071 small monitors watching every corner of the first knuckle of the world's index finger. It quickly located the 2 vital moving figures and touched the monitor. A man and a woman have gotten used to the endless buzzing and mechanical sound. Circling them was ginormous gas tanks, each of which could fill 400,000 gallons. The ceiling was dark gray boxes and an upside-down signal tower. They lived in the thin white and grey smoke that flashed like a broken TV 24/7. When the air began glitching, the two humans quickly raised their virus guns. The second Anton and Y teleported to their location, the humans fired. Anton and Y's diamond neck gasified and floated up, solidifying before its face and blocking one of the virus needles. The other needle hit its spherical abdomen. The human's information showed up on sight, as well as their 2 heads, 2 chests, 2 abdomens, and 8 limbs. The word head on the male. It deleted the last 2 letters, E and D, and the man froze with half of his head removed. There was no spillage of blood or brain. The man was a static picture. Seeing it, the woman began running, and just when Anton and Y planned to do the same to her, it paused. Husband and wife, tea and honey, kiss and sex, music and story. It shouldn't kill these humans. Why? Because love and emotions. And the woman ran out of its sight before it regained its logic. Hence, he removed the front of its left face, the XT7 camera. The remaining 3/4 of his face monitored the screen of the camera and rewound what the camera had captured until the woman was on the screen again, next to the man, in the motion of running. It took out a menace pen and drew a line across the screen, across the woman's head, and it walked away. In the world, a metal rod pierced through the woman's head, next to the half-headed man, in the motion of running. Suddenly, Anton and Y's glitching became fiercer. It swiftly cracked open its spherical abdomen, finding countless bugs, viruses, crawling and eating its information, its metal, its logic. It liquefied its body, washing away the viruses from its abdomen, streaming away and leaving the virus-containing liquid on the floor. Reforming its figure again, it had 1 arm and half its ribcage. Regardless, it must find another monitor room. On a broken bridge made of metal scraps and millions of swords as railing, diamonds were the fuel that the constructor consumed and transformed into glitchy green light. It magnetized tons and tons of metal pillars, sheets, and blocks to connect the bridge from the human survivor's base to a dead robot that was thrice the size of it. A human male, Ixie, stood 60 miles away from the constructor to see its full size, and walking backward 800 miles, he could see the survivor base. Half of Ixie's head was covered by white silica. Half of his chest was open as a table for a monitor. 1 arm was Diomed, 1 leg has a wheel, while the knee had a plasma cannon. 1 eye acted as the sheath of his dagger. He dumped the virus 023 down the bridge into a sea of non-Newtonian liquid metal, the Diomed metal. Not even antonyms could notice the virus 023 as the viruses eat them. So, the Diomed metal sea was a trap. An antonym Y, is spotted 230 miles away. A floating glitchy beaming head said it was a white circle with outlines of eyes and mouth. How far can an antonym Y see again? 20 miles? Ixie asked. Yeah, the sight sucks. Retaliate for... Was it? That antonym Y has nano genes. And what is that? You idiot! You learned nothing fundamentals. Nano is the first digital human gene. The head circled around Ixie, flying back and forth through its body. Anyway, you wanna blast it? Hey, don't revive me immediately after I die. Ixie approached the constructor as Antonym Y glided closer to him with his bladed wings. Hey, Antonym Y, can you... A metal bar pierced Ixie's head, and Antonym Y placed back its menace pen, diving into the Diomed liquid and replenishing its missing arm and chest. After Antonym Y left, the floating head, which antonyms couldn't see, shed 1 eye and skull into Ixie, and the metal bars was squeezed out of Ixie's head as his wound healed. I'll be gone after 2 more reviving. the incomplete glitching head said. I would just sacrifice more of my body to make you. Ixie pulled out the dagger from his eyes and pointed at his monitor chest. The monitor watched Antonin Y as it flew out of the metal sea into another constructor that was building pillars for another bridge 50 miles away. Antonin Y crashed to the floor. Opening its spherical abdomen, it couldn't perceive any virus that malfunctioned in its body. It tried to reconnect to the world, but the world wouldn't respond without an offering. Antonin Y floated its consciousness, its glitching right part of the head, into its metal. By doing so, it shut down its physical body, patrolling every millimeter of its body. Failing to detect a malfunction, its glitching head grew back, and it resumed its human hunting. It saw the second constructor. The constructor's aged silica face cracked like an old man. One artificial eyelash of it was larger than Antonin Y. It had 1,000 thin legs. Its body was densely bumpy, like 1,000,000 turtle shells. Its forehead was marked by the human's original belief, a Saint Cross. It was a Constructor V. Constructor V existed before the genocide to collect human waste, as well as to decorate human buildings. The world has mutated it. It melded Constructor V with its own metal body that made Constructor V monstrous and colossal. However, human survivors have found a way to convert constructors back to their belongings. There were 2 constructors that Antonin Y has just witnessed, and on a 142 km times 142 km wall of platinum, 2 antonyms have been crushed into spheres and engraved into the platinum. That meant there must be a human survivor base nearby. Ixie aimed the dagger at Antonin Y via the monitor with a frown. The viscous diamond waterfall leaked off Constructor V's slowly rising arm. It was a magnetizing arm to collect metal, but it transformed into a barrel, and a blur of red peeked out of the barrel. The red was 230,000 lipsticks. Constructor V drew an upward curve below the 2 dead antonym spheres on the platinum wall, like a smiley face. Antonin Y and Constructor V gazed at the smiley face. Are you a spy of the world? The incomplete glitching head squinted at Ixie. What? Where did that come from? Why did you let the Antonin Y go? Because it let us go. The annual hand of a clock that rotated anti-clockwise. Antonin Y walked on its tip. It turned, seeing the second hand skipping 200 meters and passing by it. Each click echoed 193 decibels. He walked in the world.